What's going on, guys? It's brettproangel here. Today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Not only am I going to give you a deck profile, but I'm going to do a deck breakdown for you. And I've been doing excessive testing with Dark Magician. As you know, I'm a Dark Magician duelist. That's my primary deck. Even though it's not considered meta, like tier 1 or whatever, I think Dark Magician has potential to be the best. So without further ado, let's dive into it. We're just going to run it from the top. As you see, I run 2DD Crow. 2DD Crow is so mandatory in this deck, in this current format, with Shaddolls being like very prevalent, same with Spirals. 2DD Crows is very, very effective. You don't want to run 1, you don't want to run 3. 3 just makes you brick, and only running 1, you don't see it when you need it. So, and it also gives you a very valuable allure target, because we run 3 allures. You want this deck to be as consistent as you possibly can so you can see all your cards. If you can get all your combos going turn 1, turn 2, or even turn 3 without getting destroyed, then you're probably going to win the game. So you want to see most of your deck, most of your powerful cards, or try to stack your deck as much as possible with your cards. And then of course you got the standard 3 Dark Magician. You can't run any less than this, because 3 Dark Magician is so important, because we're running 3 Apprentice Illusion Magicians. So 3 Dark Magicians is just essential, because this is the core of the deck. And then you also see I run 1 Dark Magician Girl. People argue this so bad, and I say Dark Magician Girl is so necessary in this deck because there's so many ways to bring her out as an option. For example, I run 1 Navigation, so if I were to pull off a Navigation, because 9 times out of 10 I have Dark Magician in my hand, so if I Navigation and I can bring out Dark Magician Girl, bam, you know, I have Dark Magicians in the graveyard. She's a powerful card already. Okay, and even if that's not an important instance, let's say Soul Servant, for example. That is one of our draw cards. That's part of our engine, Soul Servant. And if all you have is Dark Magician and Political Oracle mana, then you're only going to draw 2 cards max. But if you're able to somehow... You want to get Dark Magician Girl in your graveyard. If you can get her in your graveyard as well as Political Oracle mana and a Dark Magician, then you use Soul Servant and stack your deck for a Souls. Bam! You banish Soul Servant, draw 3 cards. You are immediately set up with plays. You just plus like 2. It's insane what this card can do. So a combination between Soul Servant, Dark Magician Girl, Political Oracle mana, Dark Magician, like these cards just run so effectively together. You just have to know how to play them properly. And then you see we run 3 Magician Souls. Magician Soul, this card is just broken. And Dark Magician alone, because you can literally just summon Dark Magician with 1 card. You can just say, oh, I drew Soul. Activate Soul, dump Dark Magician for the cost. If they do anything to negate it, okay, that's fine. You still at least have your Dark Magician in the graveyard, which is very important. So, and if they don't, then okay, dump Souls, summon Dark Magician. If I have Circle on the field, bam, I banish a card and +1. So 3 Souls are so important because you want to see this card. Like if you see this card first turn, you're set up pretty nice already, because that 1 card is so powerful. 3 Magician Rods, that card is so necessary as well. Magician Rod, oh my god, I cannot explain how awesome it is to open this card and not get negated. Because if I open up Magician Rod, if you're new to Dark Magician deck, okay, Magician Rod, generally the opening play that you want to do, summon Magician Rod and you want to search out Circle. So you can get your Circle, you can stack your deck, and you can also have Circle on the field so you can start banishing cards. And you also want them to waste resources. Even if you don't necessarily need Circle on the board right now, by playing it and stacking your deck, you're forcing your opponent to try to get rid of it, because they're going to be afraid of that card. Circle is what I like to call an intimidation card. It's scaring your opponent. And then, as you see, most Dark Magician decks do not like to run more than 2 Apprentice Illusion Magicians. But I say in this build it is so mandatory because Apprentice Illusion Magician is one of your power cards. With all these heavy Link monsters and Synchros and XYZs floating around in all these different decks, I promise you, Apprentice Illusion Magician, if you have her on the board, or if you have Dark Magician on the board while she's in your hand, then she is such a powerful card. Because if they try to run over your Dark Magician, you're just gonna, oh, Apprentice Illusion Magician, destroy your powerful card. So, and also, if you have like another spellcaster on the board with Apprentice Illusion Magician, then they're forced to attack her first. They have to. They can't get rid of your Kaiku. Yes, I run 1 Kaiku, but we're gonna get to that. Okay, so they will be forced to attack your Apprentice Illusion Magician first, because if they try to run into your Kaiku with their powerful card, then you're just gonna activate her effect on the field and give him 2,000 attack. So there's so many reasons to run 3 of her right now. Plus, not to mention her other effects. You get to pitch a card in your hand. You could pitch Soul Servant. You could pitch your 1 Navigation if you have it. You could pitch Dark Magician Girl, Palatical Oracle Mana. There's so many good options for you to discard to summon her and search Dark Magician. And also, you want to have that Dark Magician in your hand a lot of times. So, and also, she's very, very good for just an easy summon. You can easily just summon her, and if you have Magician Souls, you can just bring out Dark Magician, no problem. And did I mention she's an alert target? She's very powerful, and I say you have to run 3 of her in this format. When I first started playing Dark Magician, I only ran 1 of her, and I realized that's why I was effing up, because she's one of the most powerful cards in the deck. As you see, I only run 2 of the Illusion Dark Magicians, and that's because he's a really good card. You only need 2. I've contemplated, you know, adding a 3rd and cutting Dark Magician Girl, but then I weighed my options and realized that Soul Servant is more effective with at least 1 Dark Magician Girl in the deck. So is, I forgot to mention earlier, the Dark Magician's Fusion card. Because if he just dies, you can just summon a Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. That's why she is so important to the deck. It's almost a must. If a Dark Magician player is not playing Dark Magician Girl, I will argue every time because she's necessary. Also, 1 Palatical Oracle Mana. You don't want to run more than her because she is very much a brick card. She can easily be a brick, but she is very necessary because she can activate in your hand or the graveyard. So she's so important to have at least 1 in the deck. You know, there have been times where I've opened up with her and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, I don't need her right now. But at the same time, I've had her in the graveyard more times than that has happened, and I've needed her because somebody targeted a spellcaster and I brought her out. Granted, I don't know if you know how the rulings go or not. Like, if they target your spellcaster, you can bring her out, but whatever, if they're destroying your spellcaster, the effect still resolves. But then once she's on the field, none of your spellcasters can be targeted. So she's important to have in the deck. She's very, very essential. And plus, did I mention, she's a part of your draw engine with Soul Servant, which you're running 3 of. In the last of the monster cards, I am teching 1 Kaiku. 1 Kaiku! Because Kaiku is so important! Dude, Kaiku is the best card, if not the best card in this deck, other than Dark Magician. Kaiku is so broken this format. If you're playing against Shaddolls, if you are able to take any damage from them, okay, look at it like this. If they have Winda on the field and you can't special summon more than once, you can literally just summon Kaiku, attack Winda, activate Apprentice Illusion in your hand, bam, destroy Winda, banish 2 cards. Like, Kaiku is important. Like, and if you don't realize how important Kaiku is, then you're missing out. And also, I can't just explain how effective this is against Spiral. You can literally just banish their important cards. Like, it's ridiculous. Or force an activation, at least. Like, sometimes forcing those activations can be better than banishing them, because you're forcing them to do something they're not ready to do, or that they don't want to do on your turn, because you can get rid of it. So Kaiku is important in this deck. Did I mention he's 1800 and an allure target, and he's a spellcaster? So Kaiku is very important in this deck. If you're not running him, then I say you are making a grave mistake, because you can easily just disrupt their plays with Kaiku. Now, for the spell cards. I run 3 Allure of Darkness, okay? 3 Allure of Darkness is very important in this deck because I'm running more than enough dark targets. There's no reason not to be running Allure of Darkness. You're just going to have bricky hands, and Allure of Darkness is going to benefit you tremendously. Granted, you don't want to banish some of your cards, but at the same time, you run 3 Dark Magicians. There's a reason for this. You're running 2 DD Crows. So, you know, if you have to banish one of your crows to get your plays off, then so be it. It's fine. If you have to banish one of your cards, you have triples of it, doesn't matter because you can see them again. And then we got the most important card of this deck, and that is, besides Dark Magician, Dark Magical Circle. Because this card forces your opponent in an awkward position. Because they have to get rid of Dark Magic Circle because you're just going to keep summoning Dark Magician. And they're just going to keep saying, oh crap, now he can banish my cards. Again. So it's very important to have 3 circles in your deck. Preferably hollow foil. So yeah, you can stack your deck. If you open up with this card and you don't have Rod in your hand, you can pretty much put yourself in a better position. Because you can just circle, and hopefully, you know, you can just stack your deck accordingly. I can't just explain how awesome the combo is by having Allure and Circle in your opening hand. It's so awesome. If you don't have a dark target in your hand and you play Circle, you can literally stack your deck so you have a dark target and get what you need at the same time. So that combo is awesome. If you're a Dark Magician player, I would recommend playing Circle before you play your draw cards, because you're literally stacking your deck. I mean, it might sound like such a rookie play, but people don't do this. Like, even I was guilty of it when I first started playing Dark Magician, like, because I would try to just allure, whatever, and then play Circle. No, there's no reason to do that. Play Circle first and then play your Allure, because you're just going to know what you're drawing, and that's very essential. Also, another one of my tech cards is Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Because why? This just ruins your opponent. If you go first and you open up with this card and say you're able to either get like Kaiku or Dark Magician or something just remotely strong on your board, and you have Secret Village in play, you're probably going to win the game if it's like against Shadal. I mean, if it's a heavy monster effect deck and you have this in your deck game 1, like for instance, like Cyber Dragon, you know, I would side deck this card out game 2 and game 3 because I know that they're not going to use crazy spells. Like, I'm more worried about their monster effects. So, and how many times they're summoning. So I would side deck out Secret Village for a summon limit. And find other replacements as well. But, you know, that's just a good example. Secret Village is such a good main deck card because you can always side deck it out if you're not playing a deck that runs heavy spells. Also, another one of my awesome, super supercalifragilisticexpialidocious cards in the deck is Eye of Timaeus. I can't tell you how many times this card wins me games. Online. I'm constantly testing online as well. So, Eye of Timaeus, even though it's not searchable by Soul Survey or any of the Dark Magician related cards, simply drawing this card is awesome. It's literally, in my opinion, better than Secrets of the Dark Magic. Because granted, you can activate Secrets in your battle phase and, you know, Fusion and just do some crazy nonsense. But Eye of Timaeus gives you more options. You have more options to bring out heavy hitters. Like Dark Cavalry, for example. I can't explain how, because I only run 1 Secrets of the Dark Magic, so I can't explain how awesome Dark Cavalry has been for me. That card is so powerful, and just having a Dark Magician in hand to discard for Dark Cavalry is just ridiculous. Or a Soul Servant, or just a good discard target in general. And as we mentioned, I only run one Secrets of the Dark Magic. You only really need one. Seriously, people are running like 2 and 3. I mean, 2 is maybe okay, but I still only think you need 1. Because for one, they're not going to banish your Secrets of the Dark Magic. And if they do, you have Eye of Timaeus. So it doesn't really matter if they banish it. And if you run any more than 1, you're just going to keep seeing it when you don't want it in your hand. Because you want consistency. That's not a consistency card. So you only want a 1-of, you know? So, and also it's highly searchable. You can literally just circle, bam, add it to your hand. Or just use Magician Rod to search it. There's so many ways to access this card to the point you only need 1 of these. And as we mentioned in this video, we have 3 Soul Servants because Soul Servant is the engine. So there's no more words to be said. And then I also tech 1 Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin, not only is it a Yugi card, but Upstart Goblin is so important in this deck for reasons you don't even know. Because like I said earlier with Circle, you can just play Circle, stack your deck, add a card, and then play Upstart Goblin and then draw into your other cards. Skill Drain, whatever it may be. Like, Upstart Goblin is important because you need that draw. Especially running 3 circles. And then we have the best spell card in this entire deck besides Circle, and that's Reasoning. I mentioned this in my last video. Reasoning is probably the best tech card that I added to this deck. What I mean by that is it's not necessarily you have to play it to operate the deck, because most people don't even know about playing Reasoning and Dark Magician. But I realized, and you should too, Reasoning is one of the best tech cards in this deck for many reasons. You are running a variety of different levels of monsters, and you have a high probability of summoning one off of Reasoning. Also, not to mention, another good reason, most people call 4 stars. 4 stars is the most common card in the deck. So when people call 4 stars, and you only run 1 in your deck, you're probably going to get a free summon like 9 times out of 10. Maybe like 9.8 out of 10. Also, Monster Reborn. That's so necessary for reasons I just don't want to explain, because you should already know why this card is important. It's been on and off the ban list multiple times for good reason. Monster Reborn is necessary in Dark Magician, plus it's a Yugi card. Also, another one of my techs in this format especially, and that is 2, not 1, but 2 Mind Control. 2 Mind Control is so important in this deck because you can literally just disrupt everything your opponent's doing. If you open up with Magician Souls and they have a card, a heavy beater on the field, they went first, Mind Control helps you go second. Basically, put it that way. If they have a crazy card, I remember a time somebody had like Borreload Dragon, I think, yeah, on the field, and I was like, how am I gonna get over this? And I drew Mind Control. I was like, oh yes, I probably win. And I literally just Mind Controlled their Borreload Dragon, and then I Souls into Dark Magician, and I had like Skill Drain face down. And I think I normal summoned like Rod, and it was just, I set myself up for the win, and I do believe I won that game. Also, drum roll, another one of my tech cards, Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is so good in this deck. Like, this is another card like Reasoning that people just aren't thinking to play in Dark Magician because they're like, why would I play it? Most of the fusions are very powerful. Wrong. We have Thousand Eyes Restrict. This card is also a spellcaster, and he's a dark. So, I mean, granted you can't allure him because he's a fusion monster, but he fits in with the whole synchronicity of the deck. This card is just so good because it's another disruption card. It helps your Dark Magician deck go second. The problem with Dark Magician is they have to go first to win. And I'm innovating this Dark Magician build to go either or. You could go first or second. That's the purpose of DD Crows, that's the purpose of reasoning, that's the purpose of instant fusion, that's the purpose of mind controls. Like, there's so many good cards that help you go second and set up your board. Now, for the traps. Most Dark Magician decks run heavy traps, but I say traps are not very good this format. And it's the truth. Like, the best traps in this format are hand traps. And that's not a trap card. So, for the 3 traps that I do run, as you can see, I only run 1 navigation. Because navigation is such a brick card. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. You have Dark Magician in your hand 9 times out of 10. So if you do draw your 1 navigation, or you can stack it, just like I said with Secrets of the Dark Magic, you can stack it if you really need to. You don't want to see more than 1 of this card in your hand, or you're probably going to lose. Because the key word, consistency. And honestly, if you use it as a discard target for Apprentice Illusion Magician, you can literally just use its graveyard effect to negate one of your opponent's spell or traps. Like, this card is so good not to run, but you don't want to overdo it. Only running 1 is perfect. Just trust me, I've done so many hours of testing. Also, my next trap, as you see, I run Eternal Soul. Only 1. Not 2, not 3, only 1, and I keep expressing the fact that you can stack your deck. Quit running multiples of cards that you can recycle. That's how you have a consistent build. Like, I don't want to, toot my own horn, but, I've topped a jump before, a long time ago, before I came back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in like 2008. And it was only because I studied the game and I learned how the mechanics were. And now that I came back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, I'm studying the game once more. And I see that the basic fundamentals have never changed. The fundamentals of deck building has never changed. You want it to be consistent. So running 2 navigation, running 2 Eternal Souls, it's not necessary. You only need 1 of each because you can continuously stack the card. Soul Servant specifically says 1 Dark Magician card from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So if you use it already, just play Soul Servant, stack it, banish Soul Servant, draw 1, 2, or 3, however many cards you end up drawing, and you have it again. You recycled it. And also, the last tech card that I have in traps, Skill Drain. If you're playing Dark Magician and you're not playing Skill Drain, you're probably not doing something right. Skill Drain is a must in this deck because so many viable reasons. Skill Drain just stuns your opponent, but you have to play it at the right time. You don't want to screw yourself. Some of their effects, just let them get away with. Like, seriously. Like, you don't need to negate every single thing that they do. You don't want to activate Skill Drain at the wrong time. You want to wait until it's good for you. You want to wait until you know you're probably going to win once you create your board, and then you can Skill Drain. Plus, did I mention the combo between Skill Drain and Eternal Soul is just so broken? Also with Circle on the field, because Circle is not a monster card. So if you have Skill Drain on the field, they can't get rid of either one of your spells or traps, and you just keep bringing back Dark Magician, you're going to keep banishing their cards. So it's insane combo. Dark Magician is really good, but, we need more people to support it. Support Yugi! Alright, now let's go on to the extra deck. The extra deck's not even too crazy. I don't need the extra deck too much. There's only a handful of cards that I actually need in the extra deck. There's been times, very rarely, that you need Link Kuriboh. Link Kuriboh is very, very important because what he allows you to do, it's just like a protection. It's like a safe card. Like, Link Kuriboh just helps you protect your points if you do draw bad, and somehow you end up with souls and no Dark Magician on the field. There's always instances. Or if you try to get souls on the board to use his draw effect, and then you just go into Link Kuriboh and then set up a crazy board. There's so many reasons you could go into Link Kuriboh. So he's important to run in this deck. Also, we got the most important fusion monsters, plural, too. There's Dark Magicians, the Dark Magicians, and Dark Cavalry. I can't explain. Dark Magicians is a great card. Don't get me wrong. It gives you so many flexible options. The Dark Magicians is so good, and I also recommend you to just save your spell cards for after you fusion, because you're just going to draw a card. So with that being said, Dark Cavalry is this other most powerful card because he gains attack for each spell on the field and graveyards. Plural, graveyards. So it's like he, at times, could be almost 4,000 attack, and you can just negate effects that target. It's an insane card. Dark Cavalry is broken. I personally think it should be like a $100 card, but it's only like a couple bucks. And then we got, of course, Thousand Eyes Restrict. There's only one in this build, but I've contemplated so many times running 2 Instant Fusion and 2 Thousand Eyes Restrict, only because every single time I utilize it, like, it puts me in a great position. So I've thought about running 2 of each, but at this point in time I'm only running 1. But it's very important for reasons I've already mentioned. And then we got Starving Venom. Starving Venom is broken. Did I mention it's broken? Yeah, Starving Venom, if you're in a bad spot and you bring out Starving Venom and just let it die, you're probably going to be in a good position. Starving Venom is such a great card to have on the board. And then we got Witch's Apprentice, just to have a good link monster. And then of course, Blackluster Soldier, because he's very powerful. There's been, very rare, very select times, but I've went into him and it clinched the game for me. And then we got, of course, our Nightmare Phoenix to deal with back row, because our deck doesn't have too much back row destruction, so there's always that option. And then, of course, we got Ebon Illusion Magician. This card is so good, especially if you have Dark Magician on your board, because it's just going to put you at a massive advantage. And then, of course, we got Big Eye. Big Eye is awesome. I don't even know if I should explain it. He's just awesome. And then we got our one and only Orcus monster, because he's pretty good himself. There's very rare times that, you might go into him, but with playing Monster Reborn, it's never impossible. You could easily have Dark Magicians on the board, and you could Monster Reborn one of their level 8s, and then you go into him and you win the game. So, there's always those options. You don't use your extra deck too much, but you want to have the viable options in your extra deck. So, I really hope you all enjoyed this deck profile. The side deck's pretty self-explanatory. Summon Limits, Nibiru, Twin Twisters, Rivalry of Warlords is another good one. The side deck's pretty self-explanatory. So, I really hope you all like this build and this deck profile and my analysis of Dark Magicians. This, after a month of testing, this is the best build that I came up with, so I really hope you all liked it. I'm actually going to be playing this at regionals. I've decided to actually just bite the bullet and just run Dark Magicians because I have so much faith in it. It's my first regionals back into the game after 10 years, and I'm going to play Dark Magicians at my first regional. And hopefully I get my invite. Well, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I want to talk about Dark Magician with you. Y'all have a good day.
Let's go.